Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason and I'm your watch guy today. Now if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know that I usually concentrate on budget watches. Very affordable, below the £500 mark. Today that's not the case. Now a really good friend of the channel, Dan, messaged me a week or so ago and asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing his Tag Heuer, which obviously I said yes. He said it'd be a brilliant comparison to make to the Aorus Aquastate that I had in at the time. Very similar movement, same price range, and he himself has both of those watches, so I think he's probably drawn a few comparisons himself. The Tag Heuer in question is the Formula 1 WAZ 2011, the one with the lovely ceramic accents on it. Now I've really enjoyed having this watch for the last week or so, and I'm kind of excited to show you that on camera. Now this retails at £1,750, which is a big price tag. But as always, I've got a few buying tips for you, so if you're interested in buying this watch, wait till the end. I don't have an affiliate link or anything, I wish I did. Now, let's get this camera turned around and let's get into this review. So guys, here is the Tag Heuer Formula 1 WAZ 2011. Now, people who've watched the channel for a while or watched a few of my older videos will know that I also have a Tag Heuer Formula 1, but it is the base model. Now this one, however, is very much higher on the spectrum. It's got a lot of nice features and a lot of things that I would love to show you guys. First thing to point out is it's an automatic movement. It's the Tag Heuer Caliber 5 movement. That is a fancy way of me saying it's a Sellita SW200 base with a little bit of, let's say with a little bit of Tag Heuer's magic on top. It has a 38-hour power reserve, 28,800 beat. It is COSC certified. So you're not getting the usual SW200 treatment. It is a little bit souped up. Now, in terms of dimensions, this watch has a 42.5mm diameter. It's stated on the Tag website as 42. When I measured it, 42.5 is what I got. It is 12mm thick, so it's not as chunky as many automatic watches that you get. Lug to lug, it comes in at 48.3mm, and it is a very wearable 48.3. Feels really nice and comfortable on my 6.2-inch wrists. These lugs are 22mm, which means you'll very easily find a bracelet or strap to fit in there, but I don't know why you'd want to. This is a fully stainless steel casing with really well executed curvature. I love the curves on this watch. I just think they're so elegant and effortless, and I love how the bezel accents that curvature on the sides. We have a mixture of brushed and polished finish, high polished finish on the sides of this watch and a brushed upper lugs. The brushing and polish is as good as you would expect from something of this price range. We've small curved crown guards on this right hand side. They somewhat protect this really nice crown. It's a well machined and almost cog-like crown. It has a Tag Heuer logo on the top of it with nice polished accents. I really love this red band running around this crown. I don't know what it is, but it really does it for me. There's little pieces of red flowing through this watch that really do accent it nicely. This is a screw down crown. It's also packing a screw down case back with the usual checkered Formula 1 case back there with the Tag Heuer logo. All the information on the back there. We have a 120 click unidirectional bezel. It's a good action on the bezel. Nothing to write home about. Not at this price range anyway, but it does fit really well to the watch. This gear shape also carries on through the bezel from the crown, and I think they're really well matched. We have a grey ceramic insert, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. It accents the rest of the watch very well, and what accents that bezel really well are these white markings around it. We have Arabic numerals marking 5-minute marks, and at 12 o'clock here we have the Tag Heuer logo, which I think is a nice added piece of quality. I like how Tag really do put their brand onto pretty much every part of the watch, and it flows through the watch really well. You can't take a piece off this watch and not know that it's a Tag Heuer piece. This flat piece of sapphire crystal is the finishing piece on this case. Now, together, this casing provides the watch with a 200 meter water resistance, which I think is suitable for a sports watch. I mean, it's better than you get on some claimed dive watches, so, you know, I'll take that. As we move into the dial, it's probably worth pointing out that this is my favorite part of the watch. That sunburst effect is absolutely lovely, but it's more of a sunburst grainage type of effect. You can tell there's some texture to the dial. The grey colouring of this dial really does flow with the ceramic features of this watch, and I think it's a really nice match to it. We have large Arabic numeral applied indices at the 12 and 6 o'clock, which is one of my favourite parts of these Formula 1 watches. I love those large numerals and I love how they offset the rest of the indices. Baton indices finish the rest of the hour markers. As you can see, they have a stainless steel surround and they are loomed. It's a white date window against this grey dial. Now, usually that would be a complaint of mine, but with the rest of the indices being the same white, I think it flows really nicely with the dial. It has a really nice white border on it too. There's a minute track around the edge of this dial, which really does give me a sort of racing feel. I don't know what it is, but it reminds me of a race feel for some reason, which is probably suitable for this Formula 1 watch. If I just bring you in closer, you can see the minute track is actually a really nice step down from the rest of the dial. It also has Arabics at the 5-minute intervals. Again, really nice feel to this minute track, especially with that pointed triangle up at the 12 o'clock. I don't know what it is. It just reminds me of racing for some reason. Up at the 12 o'clock, we have the Tag Heuer logo printed in white. Below the handset here at the 6 o'clock, we have Tag Heuer Formula 1 in white and Caliber 5 in red. Again, a nice little splash of colour on this watch that flows through the rest of the design. Now, I'll just show you the loom shot just here. As I said on my Formula 1, I do actually think that this is a really good level of loom from Tag. And it's probably what you'd expect. It's a Swiss watch. It's bordering on £2,000 at retail, so I think it's well expected. Now, as you obviously noticed, it is a loomed Dauphine style handset on this watch. As well as that loom, it has a stainless steel surrounding border which flows with the rest of the indices, and it's completed by this second hand. Now, I really like the second hand and I'll tell you why. It's that red little tip that flows with the rest of these red accents on the watch, the Caliber 5 print and the crown. And I think that's a really nice piece of design from Tag. It shows that they've really thought about the dial as well as the other aspects of this watch fitting together well. It's a nice piece of design. And finishing it off, it has this Tag Heuer logo at the base. Again, a really nice piece of design from Tag. This is what I mean by you can't really take many pieces off this watch and not know they're from a Tag Heuer Formula 1. Now, this particular model boasts the ceramic insert bracelet, which I think completes the watch. I don't think I could really pick one of these up and not go for that bracelet. It costs you about £200 extra if you buy in retail. So, you know, you're paying for it, you really are. But I think it really makes the entire design flow really well. Now, this clasp has the Tag Heuer logo printed on the safety, and it has 3 levels of micro adjust. That's pretty standard, to be fair. These push pins, not split, they do feel really quite safe in there, especially when I was trying to size this. It felt like they were well built in. Now, this bracelet is really smooth and really comfortable to wear on wrist. Really does conform to your wrist very well. And I've said that about my Tag in the past. It's an easy wear. It sits on your wrist really nicely. Now, I'm going to put this on wrist so you can see how it looks on my 6.2 inch wrists. And you may notice that there's a few things I've skipped over that I probably should have mentioned. The reason for that is they are coming in my moan section, so please do stick around for that. So this is the Tag on wrist. As I said, it fits really well to my wrists, and I think it'd be a really universal fit for most people. It's a lovely watch. It really does look good on wrist, and I love how that dial catches the light. It's a gorgeous dial, it really is. Now, a lot of you will notice that I didn't mention much about this bracelet, and that's because it features heavily on my moan section. So let's take this off wrist and let's get into that. Now, before we get to this bracelet, there is one other thing that I would like to mention first. This SW200 base movement isn't exactly setting the world on fire. You can pick these up in watches as little as around £500 to £700, I believe. I've seen one or two, so it's not exactly commonplace to pick them up at that price point, but you can pick them up at that price point. Although this is COSC certified, and that does add to this movement, it is regulated by TAG Heuer themselves, so you know you are getting a piece of quality. It is a quality movement and it is a Swiss made movement. Now, that being said, let's move to this bracelet. I really do like the ceramic inserts on this bracelet. They're lovely, they really are. As I said, you are paying £200 extra for this bracelet on this watch at retail. So it kind of really does grind at me that they've left the end link as a standard stainless steel fit. It'd flow much better if it flowed straight in to a ceramic fit. I don't know if that's some sort of design flaw or some sort of thing that they couldn't do with this ceramic material, but it's a bit annoying. It really is. As well as that, at the end of the clasp, they also have that stainless steel tip, and it ends the flow of the design. It ruins the flow of the design to me, which is a bit, upsetting, because otherwise the design's perfect. Now, the real issue that I have with a lot of TAG Heuer Formula 1 bracelets is the clasp. Now, let's undo this here. Let's undo this. It's a press clasp, and personally, I just don't think that's good enough. Now, I've left my audience here for good reason, and that's because it also has a press clasp. You know how much I paid for this watch? I paid £80 for this watch, and it's packing the same press clasp. Well, maybe a little lower quality, let's say that, but it's still something I don't expect at this price range, and it's something that with TAG Heuer I will never get over at this price range. As well as that, the extension on it is also pressed. It's just not good enough for me. It really isn't. Now, the last moan that I have is the pricing. Now, the Aorus that I reviewed earlier last week, that is priced at £1,600, and I think that's an absolutely gorgeous watch, absolutely brilliant for that price. It's packing the same movement as this watch, and maybe it doesn't have a ceramic bracelet on it. Maybe Aorus don't have the same pull-on power as TAG Heuer. In fact, they don't. And the reason that they don't is because they don't spend as much money on the advertisement of their watches as TAG Heuer do. And that's one thing that TAG have always been brilliant at. They put their watches in front of a massive audience, but surely you should be making a better watch at that price to put in front of that audience. Now, I do have a little tip for you in terms of pricing at the end of this video, so stick around, watch that if you are still interested in buying a watch like this. So guys, that is my review of the TAG Heuer Formula 1 WAZ 2011. Now, as I said, this watch retails at £1,750. That's a pretty penny. And I personally think there's a lot of other watches that I would pick first at that price range. It's not to say that this isn't a watch that I'd love to own. It is. It really is. Would I find myself paying £1,750 for it though? Definitely not. Unfortunately not. Now, as I said, I do have a pricing tip for you. I'd never buy a TAG Heuer first hand. Now, I'll tell you why. After looking at the price of this watch retail, I thought I've definitely seen it cheaper in places. So I did a little bit of digging, and I'll insert a shot of eBay just here for you. I found this watch selling around £600 to £800, and they're not exactly selling them as faulty items or anything like that. Working condition, and I think it's much more affordable to buy it from a second-hand price point and maybe pay a little bit of money to get it refinished or something like that. But a lot of them do come in good condition. Now, there's always a risk buying second-hand. Trust me, I know. But I think when you're saving about £1,000, it's a no-brainer. Buy a second hand. Now, Dan, I'm really sorry for mentioning that because I think you paid retail for this, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm sorry, mate. Thank you for lending me the watch, though. It's really appreciated. On that note, guys, Dan's been a massive help to me in this sort of watch reviewing journey. He's put a lot of watches into my hand that I'd otherwise not be able to feature on this channel. So, Dan, thank you so much. And I'm sure you'll see him in the comments section, probably crying about how much you paid for the watch. Sorry, Dan. Sorry. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you've not subscribed already, please do subscribe. Leave me a comment in that section below. I love chatting to you about these watches. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.